steal or anything, would you? Because you're a nice guy.
Yeah.
Without your belief, you'd still be Dale Garland, right? Do you think you'd change if you didn't have your belief in God and Jesus?
Well,
Would you be a different person?
if I didn't have Jesus Christ in my life, I would probably end up in jail. I probably would be in more street fights that I used to do. But as soon as I received it and accepted the Lord Jesus Christ into my heart and life, I've changed.
Dale, I was a Christian because I thought you were. I grew up in gangs. Still a Christian, but in gangs. Used to fight violently on the streets. Still a Christian. Used to do some terrible things. Still a Christian. And the entire time I was doing those things, I thought, okay, God can forgive me. I'll be right. And now, I'm not a Christian. I'm a Baptist. And I don't do those things because I know they're wrong. I don't need a supernatural deity to tell me it's wrong because I just know inherently that it's wrong, and you don't do that. I'm sure, quite sure, you'd do the same. Because if you needed a belief in a supernatural deity such as God or Jesus to stay a nice guy, then inherently you're not a nice guy.
How would that be logical?
Of your faith. If you didn't have that, you'd be doing terrible, evil, naughty, bad, nasty things. You're a nice guy. Being a nice guy is to not do those regardless of any faith you hold. I don't do those things because I already know. Without being told by a God or a sky pixie or whatever that you shouldn't do that. And I'm sure, quite sure, deep down inside you, little Dale in there is quite sure the same. Don't need that to be a good person. Are you a good person, Dale?
I try my best to do good. I was born into sin, which caused bad, so there's a part of me that is bad and good. I can do bad and good things. I mean, I need Jesus Christ to weed out the bad things in my life.
That's where we differ, because I don't. I honestly don't. I don't need a belief in Jesus or God to do good things. And I do good things. I'm a good bloke. I look after my family. I don't steal. I don't cheat. I don't have affairs. I work hard. I look after my fellow humans as much as I can, the best way I possibly can. All without a supernatural deity. So what does that say about me?
How can you stop doing bad things?
You don't do them. You understand it's a bad thing and you don't do it. If you're going to do something, ask yourself, is this bad? No? Good. Away you go. Is it a bad thing? Yeah. Well, I better not do that.
You're taught what's bad and what's right.
Yes, as we all are.
So, let's say, for example, a fellow by the name of Jack. Let's say...
I remember your stories on Jack.
Yeah, Jack.
Let's go ahead.
I like the name Jack. Let's say Jack, right? He's born into the world, right? Let's say his parents don't believe in God. And let's say they don't teach him right morals, from right from wrong. And let's say Jack grows up and he thinks that stealing is alright because he hasn't been told. And so he goes out and steals a motorbike from a Harley bike shop, and so he gets caught, and he's in the interrogation room, and he's been interrogated by detectives, and they're asking him, do you know it's wrong to steal that bike? And Jack says, no, and they'll be like thinking, what an idiot, and so they'll be wondering how he didn't know that. So there's a cause for him to know that stealing is wrong, and the only thing by that is we know what's bad and what's wrong when we get told by someone else.
Okay, now you understand that we have had what's classed as the golden rule in society for longer than Christianity has been around. You know, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The golden rule has been around for a very, very, very long time in societies that don't have a belief in God. It's not something that is a Christian thing. It's not required for Christianity. And if you ask me, and especially if you look at the state of the US jail population, the majority of them are believers in something or other, whether it's Christianity, Islam, or whatever. The faith, the majority, are believers. The percentage of atheists in US jails is 0.7%. You've got to ask yourself, is believing, as you do, a thing that will teach you the right from the wrong?
Yes.
And yet we have more than 99% of the US jails filled with the faithful, the believers.
Well, you're correct there, James. I have to agree that there is a lot more Christians in jail than atheists.
Even if we pro-rata that down to, I think in the US, I think it's 50% of the population are atheists. Even if you pro-rata that down, there's still a heck of a lot of theists, believers in jail when compared to atheists. So the atheist doesn't have a deity to tell them right and wrong. They don't need a deity to tell them right and wrong. Why do you suppose, even pro-rata down to fix the numbers all balance and match, why do you suppose there's far more believers in jail than there are unbelievers?
Perhaps there's a lot of unbelievers. You believe that there's unbelievers in jail, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Alright. So maybe, perhaps, yes, God does send Christians into the jails to convert the unsaved. Like you got example of Paul in the Bible.
Why would he send so many to the saving of the unsaved when there's so few?
Because jail's like hell.
Yes, it is. It is hell. But why would he have to send so many of the faithful if he convinced so very few of them? Does it really take that many? Really? You see, Dale, we don't need a deity. I'm good without God. And you could be too, if you were an atheist. I'm not saying I want you to be an atheist. Someone should be what you want to be. I'm good without God. I don't need a God. I know good from bad and right from wrong. Because I'm a moral person. I'm a good person. Even by my own standards, I'm a good person. I don't need your deity. I don't need your Jesus. All I need is Him. And I have Him. I'm a human. I'm a humanist. I understand what it needs and what it takes to be a decent, fun-loving, kind of decent guy.
You finished?
You don't need your deity.
You finished?
At the moment?
Well, I'm gonna get technical here. Basically, right, with the Christians in jail, they're there to help. Like some people go to jail, they get converted to be a Christian, and like Paul went to jail, the Apostle Paul, and so a guard in there was going to kill himself, but then the Apostle Paul said that he's still there, and so the jail guard didn't kill himself, didn't commit suicide, and so he got saved. And so basically, James, I'm going to get very technical, right? Back to Jack. I like talking about Jack. Let's say Jack, right? Let's say he was born, he never was told what's right from wrong, like lying is wrong, stealing is wrong, like murder is wrong. And let's say Jack grows up, right, and let's say he murdered someone, right, and let's say he's in courtroom and he's being charged for that, and so he turns around to his parents and says, why didn't you tell me this was wrong? And so let's say his parents are not Christians, they're not godly, and they're not living for God, and let's say they weren't taught what's from right from wrong, and so they say to their son Jack, sorry, and they apologise to him, and he said that's not good enough, and because he feels that he's going to go to jail because he's done wrong, because murdering someone against the law, and so the law has to punish him on the grounds of him murdering someone, and so it looks bad on the parents. So my point I'm trying to get at is it's possible for someone who doesn't know God to be able to not teach their children from right from wrong. And so it does exist. I mean, you get many people all over the world, like my parents are godly, they taught me the right way, and what's right from wrong, and I know stealing's wrong because of the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not steal, and so I live by that, and so that I don't steal, and that's a good thing. But like for Jack, like someone like Jack, he could find it hard because he's not living for God. And then let's say he goes to jail and he meets a Christian in there, and they tell him, do you know you can be forgiven for murder? And he doesn't know, and then he gets told that God can forgive him of all his sins, and so he sees that there's mercy there somewhere, because his parents didn't teach him the mercies of God, and so God's mercy helps him there that day, and pardon me, and so yeah.
Okay, we're still going to the point that Jack doesn't know right from wrong because he wasn't taught. So
Yeah.
I agree that there are some people maybe that bizarre and head that would teach their child right from wrong. But most of us, I mean, I have children. I'm the least God-bothering human there is, I would say. And my children don't, or haven't been brought up in a Christian household. They still know right from wrong. Do they need a dad to tell them right from wrong? Or is me teaching them right from wrong good enough?
I'll answer your question. Let's say your children meet, let's say your children, they go to school, correct?
They do.
Alright. Let's say there's an RE teaching, like a religious teaching, like Christianity's teaching in the school, and let's say there's like a Christian teacher that's teaching on the Ten Commandments, and let's say, for example, one of your kids' friends hears, thou shalt not kill, and so he goes and sits down and listens and thinks, well, that's good. So the Bible teaches thou shalt not kill. God must be a good God, and that I can live a good life knowing that I won't kill anyone. And so basically the Holy Spirit's drawn one of your kids' friends to know that thou shalt not kill. And so that would be a good thing, right?
Be a good thing, yes, but it's a moot point because we already know intrinsically that you don't do things to others you don't want them to do to you. Again, we go back to the golden rule. But it is a good thing, I will concur, yes.
So then you'll believe that the Bible is true.
No, never said that. Don't twist my words, please, don't. What I did say is I find that if they need a deity to stop them from killing people, I have to have a belief in order to stop them from killing people. And by all means, please, for the sake of all of us, have that belief. Stick with it. Hug it. Hold it tight. Never lose it. For the sake of all the humanity, please keep believing.
So we've established that it's a good thing that thou shalt not kill, and that the Bible is moral, like in that sense.
It's not moral. I can show you verse after verse after verse. Immorality is caused by God alone. It's not a moral book by any means. Judges chapter 11. Read the entire thing and tell me what you think. Is that a moral thing?
I can tell you right now that you heard of Christopher Hitchinson?
Christopher Hitchens.
Hitchens.
Have his books, several of his books.
Well, I heard him one time talk about some of the Ten Commandments, and he said, I think he said God was violating his own law by thou shalt not kill, and so basically I thought of that, and I was like thinking, well, I've never read the Bible ever say that God cannot kill. I mean, nowhere in the Scripture does it say God shall not kill. And so,
as a parent, we look to God as a father. being a good parent? Let's say I'm I don't know, murdering puppies. And I say to my children, you are never to murder puppies. And I'm murdering puppies in front of you. Am I being a good parent? Am I being a good role model?
For you, wouldn't, but...
Am I being a good role model to my children?
No.
Correct. Now, is God being a good role model if he's allowed to kill people and then says, you can't kill anyone?
Yes, because the Bible never states that God cannot kill.
But is he a good parent then? Does that make him a good parent or a good father figure?
It makes him a
Or
God
does
of...
it make him evil?
It makes him a God of justice.
Why is it just to kill people because they don't do as he says? We can look to Onan. You know who Onan was in the Bible?
Yeah.
Onan was killed because he spilled his seed in the ground because he wouldn't get his brother's wife knocked up. And for that, God killed him.
Is sperm a living thing?
No.
It can
Well, actually, yes, it is. I beg your pardon. It's a living cell, yes.
So, Odin, he knew that he wouldn't, when he spilled the seed, God wanted him to have children produce, and he didn't listen to God, so God took him out, you know.
Is that a moral thing to do?
It is a moral thing because he violated like the fact that the sperm could cause to create a children. What if that sperm created a children that was to be a real good science teacher?
And what if it was turned out to be a Hitler of some sort?
Yes.
You see, it's a lot of what ifs there, though. You're opening a bag that's just it's giving more questions, man. If you class that as a moral thing for God to do, then I can say I am definitely more moral than your God. Because I don't kill people.
Do you consider yourself to be a good person?
Absolutely.
Can I
I
take...
consider lots of people, Christian and non-Christian, Muslim, Jainists, Buddhists, to be good people. There are a lot of good people. None of them are required to God. They might have one. They don't require it.
Can I take you through the good person test?
By all means, you want to do the right comfort on me? Let's go. He's done this with Ray himself, by the way.
Really?
So, yeah, with Ray. It's on his page. He actually went through the whole thing with me. I don't talk on his Facebook page anymore. Just certain points. But he did the good person test with me. So if you want to do it with me, by all means, let's do it. I can tell you, yes, I've lied. Yes, I've cheated. I've done wrong things in my past. That does not make me a bad person. I did bad things back then. It doesn't make me a bad person.
So
If you've done bad things, and you know yourself, you've done bad things, does that make you a bad person?
yeah,
Or do you think yourself to be a good person?
if let's say, for example, right, let's go back to Jack, right? Let's say
You go.
let's say Jack is married to Sally, right? And let's say Jack he goes to his job each day, and he's a truck driver. And let's say Jack he's late one night, and his wife is making nice meal for him and that, and so she hardly calls him because she knows he can work, and she puts so much trust in him and that, and so she's wondering where is he, and so she texts him to say that it's dinner time, come home, and so she waits 5 minutes and thinks, oh, I better call him up. So Sally, Jack's wife, calls him up, and he's in bed with another woman, having sex with another woman, one of his work colleagues, and so he answers the phone, and it's his wife, and so he asks her what she wants, and she said, did you get my text? And he said, oh, no, sorry, and then he hears this other woman in the background talking, and so she goes, who's that woman in the background, where are you? And so this woman, she doesn't know he's married, see, and so she yells out and says, oh, Jack, let's keep having sex. So Jack's wife hears it, Sally, and she hangs up the phone. And so Jack's wife is all upset, all crying and messed up and that, and thinks, oh no, Jack cheated. So Jack tries to come home, reason things out. It doesn't work because Jack, he cheated and he caused all that bad stuff. And so Sally divorces him. He tries all he can. He tries to go to marriage counselling and all that, and it doesn't work. So by Jack trying to do all that and trying to get his marriage to work out, his wife still left him because he did a bad thing. He committed adultery.
Right. I presume there's a point here.
Yeah, there's a point. And so basically, the Lord Yeshua Messiah Jesus Christ, he talks about adultery in Matthew chapter 5, verse 27 to verse 28 says, "You have heard that it was said by them of old time, you shall not commit adultery. But I say unto you that whosoever looks on a woman to lust after her has committed adultery with her in his heart." So,
otherwise you can be convicted of a thought crime.
You can be convicted of, yeah, like thinking about it, because Jack thought about it and he actually did it.
But, okay, I get your Jack and Sally side. I'm not quite sure what you're trying to make there. But I understand the point you're trying to make. The chapter and verse. What you're saying is, you can be convicted by God of thought. I want you to think about that for a second. What you think can send you to hell. Is that what you agree with?
Yeah, the Bible says what you think in your heart, well, what a man thinks in his heart he is.
You don't use your heart to think, though.
How do you know that?
Well, it's medically proven, scientifically proven. Your brain thinks. Your heart is just a muscle that pumps blood. You don't think with your heart. Let's not be facetious here, okay? But you are still missing the point here. Convicted of thought crime. Do you not see how fallacious that really is? And how silly it really is. I've got to be blunt about it. I can't be kind about it. How silly that can be. The thought that you can be convicted of thought crime just for thinking the wrong thing. Now, we're humans. We think the wrong things all the time. When you, and I know you do, when you go down to the shop, a nice warm sunny Queensland afternoon, you go down to the local shopping mall, and there's some pretty girls walking around in there in their short dresses, you can't tell me you don't have to look at them. It doesn't matter how much you go, oh, I shouldn't do that. You will have done it, even just for the briefest moment, the very brief, like milliseconds, you will still have done it in your mind. You've organised it and categorised it, and it'll be in your head, and you'll know you did look at that woman. And you can't help that. But by your own words, you are saying that you are a bad man because you would have looked, however briefly, at that woman.
I'll explain to you. Basically, the Bible, the Lord Yeshua Messiah Jesus Christ does say that watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation, for indeed the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So what I do is, it's not a sin to be tempted. So,
well, no, because Jesus himself was tempted by Satan.
Yeah. So it's a sin to fall into the temptation, correct?
But you just stated that it is a sin, or a sin, to glance at a woman with lust. Now, I've just explained to you, even if you've done it just for a millisecond, your male brain, looking at a female form, and I'm presuming you're a heterosexual, not gay or anything, I presume you're attracted to women. Your male brain, even however briefly, and whether you acknowledge it or not, however briefly, your brain would have gone, that's good for a woman. And you would have sinned right there, and you'd have been committed and convicted on thought crime. And you can pray about that, and go, oh, I didn't mean to do that, sorry Jesus, I'm sorry God, and all the rest of it. It doesn't change the fact that you did look. And your brain would have recognised that, filed it away in the back of your subconscious.
No, basically, well, let's go to Jack, for example, right?
That's a good example.
Jack, all right. So let's say Jack, right? He sees this girl down the street, and so he looks at her with lust, sexual desires. He thinks about having sex with her. He thinks about it, so he dwells on it, and so he's looking at her. So let's say he follows her, and that sexual lust leads into sexual rape. And let's say
then he's not a good person. That's first and foremost, not a good person. If you look at a woman and you think that's an attractive woman, I must have her. Not a nice guy. Now I can look at, and I do. I've got to admit, my wife sits to my left, and she knows I look at other women. I do. I openly admit. She's seen me do it, and occasionally she'll swat me or something like that, and I say something crude or whatever. But she knows I look. I know I look, but that doesn't mean I want to break them, or I want to have sex with them, or I want to do anything. I'm just admiring a good-looking woman. I'll not say anything to her. I'll not approach her. I'll not touch her, because that is not right. And I'll not stare lewdly or seriously or anything like that. I can look at a woman as I walk past her, a looking woman. In the back of my brain, there is no thing that goes, you know what, you should break her. That's not a good person.
no, it's not. So what I'm trying to establish, James, is do you think that lust, sexual lust, like let's say Jack, right? Do you think that Jack is capable of furthering that lust and raping another woman because of his sexual desires?
Anybody's capable of it. Anybody. However, in saying that, most of us are quite well aware that that's not the decent thing to do. Anybody is capable of rape, male or female. However, we understand that it goes back to the golden rule, do unto others, that we've had since before Christianity was around, before Judaism, before even the early Sumerian faiths. Do unto others. It's the same basic principle. We do to people what we'd like them to do to us. Right? I don't rape people. And I don't murder people. I don't rape and murder as much as I like. I just don't do it.
You finished?
Oh, not by a long shot, yeah. If you want to use Jack, I'll use Jack as well. Let's say Jack sees a good-looking woman. In the back of his head, he goes, that's a fine-looking woman. But then he realises that I shouldn't do anything more than just have a casual glance, because I'm a decent guy, and I know that doing anything more than just a quick, brief glance rather than glaring seriously at the woman, touching her inappropriately, following her home, would be a bad thing. So Jack would be a good guy, just look and move the hell on. Now, please, by all means.
So, let's say for example, right, Jack, right, let's say he becomes a true born-again Christian believer, and let's say he gets tempted to do it, and so he resists the sexual temptation of lust after another woman, and so he managed to do that, and he doesn't look at her with sexual desires, even though he thinks she's pretty. But because he thinks she's pretty doesn't mean he wants to have sex with her, and so he decides not to, and he turns away, and he does.
Okay, good guy, Jack. Good boy. You've done well. Don't do that. Stop that. Brilliant. Excellent work. You understand, though, that the human emotion of lust is innate in all of us. We have to have that because that is part of our makeup. It's why we have children. We desire to have sex, to procreate. That's an inbuilt thing. Whether that was put in there by God or evolution, I'm not going to go into that. I don't want to go into that. But it's still an innate part of our lifestyle, part of who we are. Lust is required because we need to procreate. Without lust, if we did not have lust, there would be no desire for sex, there would be no children, there would be no births, and we would have died out long ago as a species. Lust is almost a requirement of humanity.
You finished?
I've stopped.
All right. So more or less what I'm trying to get at is that, let's say, for example, Jack, right? We'll go back to Jack, all right?
Let's go back.
Yeah, let's say Jack marries a nice Christian woman, so he waits until he marries a nice Christian woman to lust after her. So he does all that because the Bible talks about getting married, sex is for marriage, and so he does the right thing, right? And so that's a good thing because it lust, sex in a good way, like in marriage formats, is a good thing. But where it becomes immoral is where it's outside of marriage. And so, let's say, for example, Tommy. I've made a new guy, Tommy.
Tommy now.
Yeah, Tommy. Let's say Tommy, right? He's an unbeliever. He doesn't believe in God. And let's say he thinks, all right, well, he can look at this girl and his lust causes him to whistle after her, right? And he thinks about having sex with her, right? And so he whistles after her and he says, hey, sexy. And so the girl's boyfriend hears that, runs up and smacks him a beauty in the back of the head. He's wondering what's happening. And the guy smacks him and says, don't call my girlfriend sexy ever again. So Tommy got smacked to the ground for it, so his lust caught him in the action.
Right. Tell me something. I've got to ask a personal question. If it's none of my business, please say something and move on. Do you have a wife or a girlfriend?
I'm married. Yes, I have a wife.
Now, when you first met your wife, was there an attraction there? Did you find her attractive or anything like that?
Well,
I'm talking about the first moment you saw her. I'm not talking about later on. I'm saying the first moment you saw her, did you find her attractive?
I found her to be beautiful, loving, but I wanted